So last night, Ukraine struck Russia's largest oil refinery, Rosneft, and this is a big deal. So as of now, Ukraine has taken out roughly 20% of Russia's refining capacity, and they are experiencing gasoline shortages around the country in Russia. This is something that I've promoted for a long time that I thought Ukraine should have been doing from the very beginning, because Russia's war on Ukraine is driven by their oil economy. That's what finances it. If you want to have any chance of winning that war, that's what you target. The thing that finances it. And they are doing that more and more and more. But there are other implications to this that not a lot of people are talking about. One of those implications is the fact that this would mean, theoretically, we will see if it happens, an increase in Russian oil exports. We've seen some of that. But if Russia cannot refine their oil, and they must make money doing so, then they will sell that oil overseas to keep some sort of revenue stream coming. That means more oil on the global market and lower oil prices. And this is coinciding with OPEC. And apparently, Saudi Arabia, came out last night and said that they are for additional oil production increases. OPEC is going to meet on Sunday to decide if they're going to increase oil production further beyond what they have already done. They've already fully restored all production cuts from the last few years. And now they're talking about further production increases, which would really sink the oil market. Combine that with more Russian exports, it would sink it even more. But Russia is largely very much energy independent, right? But here's the thing. They produce a lot more energy than they consume, but they don't refine a great deal more of gasoline than they consume. They produce significantly more than they actually refine, which is opposite of the United States. The United States can actually refine more oil than they produce. Russia is the opposite. They can't. They don't have the refining capacity. They've never needed it before. Russia's not a big, motor vehicle country like the United States. Their country wasn't built around the automobile. That's not to say they don't have a lot of cars, but they don't consume gasoline like Americans do. The average daily commute for a Russian is not likely anywhere near what it is for an American. And with this Rosneft refinery strike being the largest refinery, and apparently it did a lot of damage, this is the second strike on that refinery. This is only going to further complicate things for Russia. And you add that to the Samara refinery that was struck, the Slavyansk, Afipsky, Tisky, the Ust-Luga terminal, LNG terminal, which has experienced a 50% capacity reduction, and various pipelines that have been struck. So I believe it's roughly half of Ukraine's drone strikes over the last month targeted energy facilities, refineries, LNG. And to date, they have taken out about 20% of their refining capacity. roughly 81 strikes on Russian oil facilities and 31 on refineries. This, as I have said from the beginning, should have been the strategy on day one. If this was the strategy on day one, this war would already be over. One way or the other, it would be over. Disrupting refining capacity directly targets Russia's war economy, limits fuel, not only for the people in the country, but how they fuel their military operations. And you know they're going to send and ship whatever gas they can to the military operations and leave the people stranded. That's what they're going to do. They're cutting services for people in Russia drastically to help pay for the war effort. There's not a chance that they won't do the same with gasoline, and it's already happening. And Ukraine's drones have a pretty good extended reach. They can hit Moscow. But a big question is what is this going to do to the global oil market? And if this continues, I suspect, unless Ukraine targets more production facilities and less refining facilities, I think it could end up resulting in a significant amount of additional Russian crude hitting the market, the global market that would normally be used to refine. We will also see who Russia's real allies are. Is someone going to send them gas? Specifically India. Is India going to send Russia gas? India has refining capacity. They buy a lot of Russian oil. They refine it. Are they going to sell them some gas? I don't know. But with what Ukraine has taken out so far, it's easy to see maybe an additional up to 1 million barrels a day of oil being put onto the global markets that they can't refine. Totally possible. I think the question is, will that sink the global oil market and cause a lot of more job losses in the United States? There's already experiencing a lot of job losses in the energy industry. So we'll have to see what happens. Let me know what you think in the comment section. This is, I feel like there's finally progress being made in that conflict. Ukraine's finally doing what they've needed to be doing all along. So let me know what you guys think. Opinions, comments, really appreciate it. You guys have a great weekend. Thanks.